Find us on Google.
We having some technical difficulties?
We did. We were having some sound trouble to start the show, but I've corrected this issue.
Great job. Great job. You are the Duke of the Monty Show.
Yes, I am the Duke of the Monty Show.
Yes.
Please make sure you find us on Google. Just search The Monty Show, Monty, The Monty Show. I tried. You'll find our podcast. You'll find our social, The Monty Show on Twitter and Insta. And, of course, you'll find our YouTube channel, The Monty Show. Let's start with the Utah Jazz because I do think last night was one of the more significant nights of the season. The Jazz absolutely, after dropping a dud and getting beat by the Phoenix Suns in Phoenix on Wednesday night, came out and handled that business back at the Viv. Is it okay to can we
I mean, I don't know.
Viv?
Is that what the cool kids call it now, the Viv?
Well, yeah, I mean, I would think so. The Jazz are dominant at home. That continued. The Jazz win 122-103. Donovan Mitchell with another great performance. I mean, Jake, where do you leave it with this team? They dominate Portland after coming up short on the road, and it seems like all is right in the Jazz world.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you can go home, it feels good. This is one of the most dominant home teams, not even just this season. I mean, over the last several seasons, the Jazz have been, frankly, ridiculous at home. Like it's pretty much you go to Vivint to die, essentially, if you're a road team. And so, last night was no different. The Jazz play well. They're locked in. They're making shots, doing everything that you want them to do. And that's not to simplify, but that's pretty much what happened last night. If you're Portland, you gave them a good fight, but you're just not gonna have enough when you're playing the Jazz at home. And I think that the Jazz have got to figure out desperately how to translate the play that they have at home onto the road. And we every single day, as you guys are well aware, we talk about the Jazz, we break down the issues, we break down the roster issues that prevent them from beating some of the better teams in the West. But then at home, they do this and they look fine. So it really, to me, is just a simple question of how can we translate this kind of performance at home to a road game when we go to the Staples Center or when we go anywhere else and we play any other great Western Conference team. What do we have to do to win on the road? And I think that's something that they're still trying to figure out. And when they do, the rest of the league is going to be in trouble.
The interesting thing about the way the Jazz played last night, I felt like they were trying to prove a point.
Mm-hmm.
And my question is, why were you not trying to prove that point against the Suns? Right? Like, that's the thing that drives me so crazy sometimes about this Jazz team. And maybe maybe you just don't feel that confident on the road as you do at home. I look at Don with 37 points, 5 boards, 4 dimes.
Look good doing it.
And he scores 37 points on 1 of 8 shooting from 3. And we're getting into that time of the season. Look at Booker. Devin Booker last night that has not made a 3-point shot in 2 straight games.
Mm-hmm. The problem.
Like Devin is in this incredible shooting slump right now, but is still finding ways to positively affect the game. That talks to you about greatness. I say the same thing about Donovan Mitchell. I mean, Donovan 14 of 25 last night for 37 points. Well, not his most efficient night, is still pretty good. And I look at Rudy Gobert with 18 points and 21 boards, 6 offensive rebounds. I mean, that's an effective night for Rudy. This Jazz team found themselves again. Joe Ingles, 13 points, 2 of 8 from 3. Niang with 10. You didn't have Clarkson last night, so you don't know if, maybe this extra rest is going to help him.
Hopefully.
Because he's been struggling off the bench a little bit here the last couple of weeks. But you just feel like this is one of those wins that can really push you, back to your swagger. And tomorrow night at home against the Kings, you really want to see this exact same performance.
Yeah, you want to be consistent, whether you're playing Portland or Phoenix or the Kings or whoever. I mean, you want to be able to bring that same level of effort and frankly, the same level of quality every single night. And the issue becomes that, this team, you talk about Donovan or anybody else on the team, they're just not shooting well, I mean, at all. And so they're having to find ways to win games by not shooting the three. And maybe this is a as frustrating as it is to watch them shoot all these bricks from three. Maybe this is a gift. Maybe we can turn this into a good thing by saying it's forcing them to score in the paint. And with that being the case, hopefully they can apply that into the postseason. But I still look around the Western Conference, and I'm still saying to myself, hey, the Clippers are coming, man. They looked really good last night. They've looked good the last several games. Obviously, Phoenix goes without saying. And, these injury projections for the Lakers make you wonder, are the Lakers going to make a late season push to potentially sneak up and pick up the 4 seed or the 3 seed, And so if you're the Jazz, it's really simple. And this is kind of why the length of the NBA season matters. You just have to keep winning games. That's really all that matters, because if you keep winning games, you're going to be the 1 seed. And that's really all you should care about at this point, being the 1 seed, controlling your destiny, and getting home court advantage. Because frankly, if you have home court advantage, the road stuff does not matter.
Yeah, I mean, I think the easy thing to say is you got to keep winning games.
Mm-hmm.
But that's incredibly difficult to do. I think when you look at the way that, like Donovan Mitchell performing at this level last night, I mean, this was a truly, defining moment. If they lose that game, they probably go on to lose several games.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't win at home, if you can't show your swagger at home, if you can't dominate at home the way Don did last night, the way the Jazz did last night, you have very little to hang on to. You're left with very little. And I think that's one of the things that really come away from in this game is that the Jazz can count on that home court advantage. And the Jazz can count on Donovan Mitchell. And it was interesting, watching the TNT postgame show last night. They were talking about how Shaq and Donovan Mitchell had that awkward exchange.
Mm-hmm.
And Donovan comes out and performs like this. And the guys on TNT were saying, well, this is exactly why we criticized him, because he wasn't doing this. And I have to agree with that. I think you're seeing Donovan Mitchell growing and developing as a basketball player. And I think you're seeing him, Jake, grow and develop as a franchise icon.
Yeah, and I think that he understands that he's got work to do to kind of solidify himself in that superstar cut of players. There was a lot of talk on the show this week in our comments on YouTube about how, Devin Booker and Donovan Mitchell and, the Jason Tatums of the world, like that cut of player is not superstar level player yet. And I tend to agree with that. I think that those guys still have work to do. I think Don is somebody who, last night he broke some dudes off. I mean, and he makes it look, when he's on, he makes it look real easy. And that's the scary thing. He can come out and put up, 35, 40 with really, and I'm not going to say minimal effort, but it doesn't look very difficult for him when he's doing that. And that's the beautiful part of his game. My whole thing with Donovan just is that, can he carry a team like a LeBron or a Durant or, that level player? Can he become that? Can he mature into that? And if he can, if you're the Jazz, that's great news, because then you don't have to spend as much money on the roster. So I don't know, man. I love where Donovan's game is going. He's definitely stepped up. I just think you have to continue to do it. That's what really separates LeBron and Durant and all these other guys from the second tier. We can count on LeBron James. We know one of two outcomes is going to come from a LeBron James game when he's out there playing regular minutes. He's either going to have 30 and probably like 7 or 8, or he's going to have 25 and he's going to have like 12 to 15. So really, just depending on the flow of the game and what he needs to be doing. And that's what I think, that's what Don needs to get to.
Yeah, and I think he will get there. I really do think so. I think he is certainly capable of that. It's a matter of development now. It's a matter of him, and he wants to. He has always showed that desire. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I look at the Suns last night, and I see a team that was out of gas. That's what I saw from the Suns last night, because they're not used to the effort and the energy it takes to be the best. You look at the Jazz, they've been on top most of the season. They have been the hunted. It is much, in my opinion, it's much easier to get to the top than stay on top. And the Jazz have now shown wherewithal. I look at the Suns last night. That looked like a tired bunch. Chris Paul was not the same player. You look at DeAndre Ayton, and I don't know how many times we can have this conversation about DeAndre Ayton. I know there is a large swath of Jazz fans who thinks, the guy walks on water. Kawhi Leonard does not think that Deandre Ayton walks on water. Did you see? Oh, my God. Did you see Kawhi Leonard just dunk? I mean, he didn't dunk on Deandre Ayton.
Yeah.
He
destroyed him.
He detonated
on
Deandre Ayton. He just owned him.
Torched him.
At the rim last night. And I that's who Deandre Ayton is. DeAndre Ayton, and I can only say this so many times, he doesn't catch the ball well. He is not a fierce physical player. He is a guy that when he is dialed in, has tremendous want to, effort. He can bring energy. He's a laid-back guy by personality, by nature. Those guys don't typically make great power forwards or centers. I look at DeAndre, he's not looking to dunk on dudes. I look at DeAndre, he's not the guy who is court aware. He's, again, running down the middle of the lane. Chris Paul throws him the ball, and DeAndre never saw it because he never looked at it.
And it's a turnover.
It's that thing that drives me crazy.
Yeah.
You have to understand what the flow of the game is, and DeAndre Ayton does not. Last night, consistently, for most of that game, lost his defender. Lost the guy he was defending. Consistently last night. You look at Patterson dunking. You just look at all of his game. DeAndre Ayton's a problem for the Suns. Mm-hmm. He is not a championship quality player. Fine, be all upset, get pissed. That's great. I'm telling you now, the Suns don't win a championship if DeAndre Ayton's their starting center. Period. End of story. Mm-hmm. And if they do, hey, cool. I'm completely wrong. You are light years away from that. And you want to talk about, I was having, huge Twitter debates the other night with guys about the quality of DeAndre Ayton. Mm-hmm. Where was the quality? Where was that? Where was the difference making? There were guys on Twitter the other night saying that DeAndre Ayton dominated Rudy Gobert.
No, dominated Rudy Gobert. I don't know what game they watched.
He did not.
He had a couple of nice moments, but he didn't do what Joel did. I mean, he didn't do what Jokic consistently does. I'd have to go back and look at the box, but I don't think that DeAndre Ayton certainly, went ahead and lit up Rudy Gobert.
No.
I think that DeAndre Ayton found himself in very precarious situations and got a couple of nice rebounds. Sure, I mean that's fair to say, but to say he dominated him is just not realistic.
And look, DeAndre had a nice game last night. If you're just looking at box scores. 18 points, 10 boards, 4 offensive rebounds, 4 turnovers, a block, 3 dimes.
4 turnovers.
Yeah, 4 turnovers.
That's too many for a big.
Well, but the problem is he turns the ball over for guys like Chris Paul. Mm-hmm. Like 2 Chris Paul turnovers last night, that were both to DeAndre Ayton. Mm-hmm. You start to wonder what's the ceiling now for the Phoenix Suns. This Devin Booker shooting slump is not a surprise. Mm-hmm. It's April. Guys are feeling heavy legs. It's the same thing
that's happened to the Jazz, dude.
Yeah, you're going to see that at some point Devin's going to come out of that. DeAndre Ayton ain't coming out of this because this is who he is. And you put him against Gobert. You put him against look at Jokic. I mean, I'm telling you, the Denver Nuggets are the best team in the Western Conference right now.
Yep.
And I don't know.
And nobody's talking about it because nobody watches them.
No.
And I think
I agree.
They're going to be a shot out of a cannon in the postseason. I think that they're going to I really do believe that the first team that they face, they will dominate that team. I'm not saying that when they get to the Jazz, they're going to dominate the Jazz, but I'm telling you, that first team that they meet, there will be hell to pay for that first team. I'm just telling you.
Lopes fan Gabe says, morning, fellas. Let's get it today. Yep, yes, we're looking for a big, big day today. Of course, now as the top producer in the world, I have most of the day off today.
Yeah, it must be nice.
It is nice. It is. You should try it sometime. Mm-hmm. Anyway, my point is that I have most of the day off today. I don't know why I'm turning the drops on. Anyway, point is, I have most of the day off today, so yeah, we're going to get it. Mm-hmm. Draft Punk 419 says the Nuggets keep me up at night. They should.
They should.
They should. I mean, no matter who you're a fan of, the Denver Nuggets are better than your team because I'm telling you, the Nuggets are the best team in the Western Conference. Now, having said that, the way that Paul George has shown out the last week, look out. Because if he gets going and if Kawhi starts hitting these one-hop threes and he's dunking on DeAndre Ayton last night, look out. Because if those two find their swagger, and Paul George is saying that this toe on his right foot is incredibly painful, and that it has taken his explosiveness from him. That's made him a better shooter, I will tell you that.
Yeah.
Because he's not standing out there doing all this dribbling and let me back to the basket and footwork. He's just catching and shooting.
Yep.
And it's making Paul George that dominant player again. And I think that's when you really start to look at the clips and you're like, hey, got to be careful here.
The problem, though, that I have, and the reason I don't think the Clippers will get past anybody to get to the finals is because Paul George is a mentally weak player. Like, he has these great stretches, but then he disappears, and they have this odd dynamic where in a postseason they just cannot get it going in a series. And I don't know, maybe this year's different. Maybe he's found a way to get over the hump. I don't know. But I'm just telling you, like, I don't have any doubt that a 100% healthy Paul George can dominate any team. I mean, he is that skilled. He's that good of a scorer. He's right there with the KDs of the world in terms of scoring and being an offensive force. And really the only question that remains for Paul George is, what are you going to do to keep your mind right? And are you ever going to win a championship? Are you ever going to get to a place where you're in the NBA Finals consistently? Because he hasn't been that guy. He's been consistently in the postseason. He's battled LeBron. If you all remember that dunk on Birdman against the LeBron James-led Heat, that was one of the best moments of Paul George's career. And he really hasn't been to that peak since, frankly.
Yeah, and I'm curious if he ever gets back there.
Yeah.
I am. Who's the best team in the Western Conference right now? I think I am on the Denver Nuggets. Pretty tight right now.
Yeah, I don't have any doubt it's the Denver Nuggets. I think that the Jazz are right there. My biggest concern with them matching up against the Nuggets is, again, all the flexibility that the Nuggets have in the way that they go about beating you. So if the Jazz want to play one way, the Nuggets are going to exploit the weaknesses of that decision, And so really, that's why I put the Nuggets ahead. It's not because they're just such an outright better team. They just have more flexibility in their starting five, which allows them to do things the Jazz can't do.
The other thing that I think is interesting is this conversation about how deep is the Jazz bench. I don't think Quinn Snyder trusts Oni yet.
Mm-hmm.
Not on the level that you need to trust him to let him play.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Clarkson, I think, is by far the sixth man of the year.
Yeah.
I don't think it's close. He's going to have to get back to his previous form. But I look at guys like George Niang. Would you say that's good depth?
I wouldn't. Good is not the word I would use. Useful, sure. Guy can make some shots.
He has a role.
Guy can make some shots, but he's not somebody you want playing even 20 minutes a night.
If I look at who are the guys that really impact off the bench, Jordan Clarkson, Joe Ingles certainly, who I still maintain should be starting. I look at Derek Favors, who's found youth in those legs. He's got tremendous bounce right now. Which I think is a big tip of the cap.
Yep.
I look at Niang, and I think those are the guys.
Those first three are really the three that is your bench.
Yeah, they play on a regular basis. They play, they play 8-9 guys.
To me it's a 9-man rotation. That's just where it's at, and I think that Quinn, what we've seen out of Quinn Snyder is in terms of rotation is really interesting. So you had brought up a point probably, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks ago. We had noticed that Quinn had started taking Rudy out about with like 6 minutes into the first quarter. Like he started taking him out early, and then we've started to see some interesting moves in terms of how long he's keeping Donovan Mitchell out of the game, and like he's trying to maximize Don's minutes, like effectiveness in his minutes. So not maxing out how long he's actually on the floor, but resting him and giving him the ability to be the absolute best he can be. And I just don't think that they're going to be able to afford to do that in the postseason. I don't think that Don's going to be able to play, anywhere below 35 minutes in the postseason. He's going to have to be way higher. I don't see how that's possible.
Yeah, I don't see how it's possible, and I think that's the interesting question about Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
Depending on the matchup, I mean, you're probably not going to play him heavy minutes. I would think he's a 32-minute guy.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are late game situations where Rudy's got to go out. I mean, again, even against Portland, we saw them. What were they doing? Mm-hmm. They were switching him on to C.J. McCallum, and C.J. was going at him. Yeah, CJ was going at him and having success. Now, who cares? Jazz won the game. But at some point, that's going to come back to matter. And I think we saw it against the Clippers. By the way, real quick on the Clippers, I hate Patrick Beverley. I will just continue to say this. That play on Chris Paul last night was intended to do one thing, to injure Chris Paul. And I just think that's what you cannot have. Now, he got a flagrant 2 and he was ejected. But those are the kind of moments that will submarine a season.
Yeah.
And you look at what Pat Beverly did last night, he's lucky they won that game. Because if they'd have lost that game, that would have been one of those moments that would have been a real difference maker. But I think we saw, my point was, the Clippers switching Rudy on to Pat Beverly. You look at Denver. Denver's got all kinds of guys. What do you do if you switch Gobert on to Murray? Michael Porter Jr., like Aaron Gordon. Those are impossible matchups for Rudy to win.
Yeah.
All those guys can hit threes comfortably. I mean, those are tough matchups for him to win.
Yeah, and I think you'll see the Denver Nuggets go at Gobert consistently with Aaron Gordon, and I think that this goes back to the physicality card. You know, there was a stretch there where NBA teams were going after Rudy Gobert. They were putting their shoulder into his chest. Like Zion Williamson went right after him. You know, now Zion lost some of those battles. Like he went up a couple times, Rudy blocked him, and then he also won some of those battles. And so I'm just telling you, I think that when the postseason gets here, you're going to see teams go after Rudy. They're going to try and get him in early foul trouble, and they're going to try and get him off the floor. That's what's going to happen.
It's the recipe for success.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you have to do, and you have to find ways to get guys like Royce O'Neal against the Suns the other night in foul trouble. It makes him much more conservative defensively. It helps the Suns.
Correct.
These are all things you have to think about going forward. But to answer the question directly, I think the Denver Nuggets are the best team in the West.
Yeah.
And will that bear out in the playoffs? I don't know. We'll see. I mean, can the Suns maintain their level? We'll find out. I mean, they went to LA last night and did not look good. You know, they don't. You know, I look at some of the games that the Suns have coming up, and I'm telling you, this schedule for the Suns and the Jazz, while different, the Sacramento Kings are that matchup that's difficult for the Jazz. So Saturday night, now this game's at Vivint Arena here in Salt Lake. The Viv. My point is that's a huge advantage for the Jazz. But if you look at the Suns, you know, host Washington, that's a game they should win.
Definitely.
You know, like that should be your bounce back game. But you start looking, you know, at the Suns' schedule, and you start realizing that the season is very short. There's not months left in the season, folks. We're in the middle of April, and it's Washington, Houston, Miami, Sacramento, San Antonio. All of those are at home. But then look at this trip. The Suns go Milwaukee, Philly, Boston, Brooklyn, New York. Good luck.
Dude.
Like, that is a murderer's road trip.
See ya.
But they get a break when they come home, right? To take on the Clippers and the Jazz before they go back out to OKC, Cleveland, and Atlanta.
Yep.
But then they get a break because they come home for the Knicks. Oh, but that's okay because then they get a break and they go on the road for the Lakers, Golden State, back home for Portland, and then they finish 2 at San Antonio.
Yeah, dude.
Good luck.
Brutal.
Like, that schedule
and that's the thing. It's going to test their quality. And I think that, you know, when your points about Deandre Ayton, your points about the rest of the team, like, I think they're going to be tested. And I think that's the greatness of the NBA season. Again, I know I keep going back to it, but this stretch of the NBA season every single year is going to determine what you do in that first playoff series. Because if you're exhausted going into the postseason, you're probably not going to have a lot of success. And this isn't just about the Suns either. Like, I think, you know, as much as, you know, we've gone over the Jazz schedule and run that thing into the ground.
Cake. It's the Jazz schedule compared to the Suns is cake.
Yeah, but I know. But what my point is that the Jazz have to be mindful of making sure that they stay fresh for the postseason because that's when it's really going to matter. I mean, it doesn't matter. At some point, they're going to lock up the 1 seed, and at that point, you got to relax.
Mr. Mitch says, you guys have zero objectivity. You swing like a gate in the wind on the Jazz. Are they good or not? Do you believe in them or not? Bro, what show are you watching? Like, I think we have been pretty rock solid.
Bro, we've nailed
on our opinion of the Jazz.
Every point on the Jazz for a long time, to the point where people on Twitter are admitting that they were wrong and that they're starting to come around to what we're talking about.
Yeah, I think we've been.
I mean, you can say that we swing in the wind. I'm assuming that you're referencing, us talking about the fact that yesterday they lost to the Suns and it was a battle, and we were having that conversation. Well, yeah, because that's the reality of where the team was at. Now that you've shown that you can bounce back, you're in a different position. So it's not that one day we say they suck and another day we say they're a great team. We literally said yesterday that even with the loss, they're still probably the best team in the Western Conference or the NBA. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what show you're listening to, bro.
He also continues, Jake, are you ready to eat crow on Chris Bryant? Fuck, it's been a week. Let the guy have a chance to suck, right?
Yeah, what do you mean? Kidding. What do you mean eat crow on Chris Bryant?
But
he's got a couple of home runs.
You ripped Chris Bryant pretty good.
And I'll continue to rip Chris Bryant until he gets to the All-Star game, until he shows me he can be a 280 hitter and give me 30 bombs every single season.
Until he hits 5'10 and hits 70 home runs.
I'm not even asking him to be a 300 hitter, dude.
And I want 200 RBIs. If you're not going to give me 200 RBIs, what good is he?
When did it become acceptable for Chris Bryant to be anything other than a 300 hitter and hit 30 home runs?
It didn't.
When did that become acceptable?
It didn't.
I don't know if anybody's paying attention. There's some guy playing in St. Louis that's the best third baseman in the division. So Chris Bryant might want to get on his game and might want to start earning that contract that he wants so desperately.
Yeah, Nolan Arenado is who you're talking about. The Cubs should have traded for him. I would have no problem if the Cubs traded Chris Bryant. We've talked about this a lot, and Mr. Mitch also mentioned Craig Kimbrell's save yesterday. He's a huge Cub fan, in case you didn't notice.
Yeah.
Craig Kimbrell and Chris Bryant for this year's Cubs are two things. Trade value.
Yeah.
That's it. Because this team's not going to contend at the top of this division.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how the Cardinals don't win 90 games accidentally without trying, or,
they've got better pitching. They've got a better lineup. They've got better defense. They're the best team in the division right now.
Yeah, I mean, the Cubs' best pitcher is in San Diego, and his name is Yu Darvish.
Yeah.
It just is. It's the destruction of that team's remarkable. Larry says, this is the first time I've watched your show. You're crazy about the Clippers. They're the best team in the Western Conference. Do you guys watch games? Well, there it is. There it is, Larry.
Yes, Larry.
There's our favorite line.
Yes.
Do you guys watch games?
Do you guys even watch basketball games?
Have you guys seen one game ever? Do you know it's not? This isn't the Australian. I got a guy yesterday. Wait, you watching the Australian Basketball League? Yeah. Oh, my bad. That must be it.
Yeah, I forgot the Australian Basketball League is on TNT last night.
I love it. The Clippers should be the best team in the West. Even when everybody's 100%, the LA Clippers should be the best team in basketball. They're not, and it's not close. And that's because they have no chemistry. You have guys in LA that are mentally soft. Period. It just is what it is. And I know that's probably upsetting the Clipper fans.
I think that do you watch even games guy that we've had so many times on this show is what's called an NBA casual. Somebody who watches games sometimes, then goes and looks at the box score and says, well, Paul George had 30 last night, and he's an all-star, and everything's great, and they got Kawhi, and everything's cool. But what they don't understand is that just because you have names on paper does not mean that you're the best team in the league. And I'm telling you that the Clippers are mentally soft, and they will be had once again in this postseason. They may get to the Western Conference Finals. They're not going to the NBA Finals. I'm just telling you right now.
Yeah, I just love it. I love it. Yeah. By the way, do you guys watch games? Guy really makes the show better. Honestly,
it's just funny because it's so consistent to the point where, again, I know I keep referencing people on Twitter, but we get people on Twitter making jokes about it because of how many people are like, do you guys even watch games?
Hey man. Hey, man. Come on, dude. Seriously. On the Jazz, I think we've been pretty straight down the line. I mean, 10 minutes ago, I just said they locked up the West.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it's going to be very difficult to catch them. They played exactly as they needed to play. Good morning, Trevor. He says, great content, guys. Keep it up. You guys have been consistent on the Jazz. Hashtag take note. Exactly right.
Thank you, sir.
Brandon Whitesides, who Brandon, without even reading his comment, must be very happy this morning. Just woke up with a smile. Oh, congratulations. No, I'm not going to make a joke there. Jazz win, Suns lose. Jazz were 2 points away from shutting the door on first place. I think they have shut the door on first place.
I think that.
I think that's over.
I think that this game last night for the Jazz was definitely the most impactful, most important, most meaningful game that you've played all year. Just simply from the standpoint of you were coming off a loss to Phoenix, a hard-fought loss. Both teams, the Jazz and the Suns, are both clearly tired. The Jazz definitely played better last night than the Suns did in their game, and I think that now, like you were just saying, it's going to be really difficult to catch the Suns for that 1 seed.
Barry says, yes, you guys are remarkably consistent. You never talk about the Knicks. Why do I watch? But you watch every day, Barry. Barry it loves that sarcastic humor. The Suns' schedule is far from easy. What are you talking about?
He didn't say the Suns' schedule was easy. What are you talking about, bro?
Help me.
Are you listening?
I said the Jazz schedule.
Yeah, he said the Jazz schedule.
God.
Dude, bro.
The Jazz schedule compared to the Suns' schedule is easy. The Suns have Murderer's Row. The Jazz have, and it depends. Like, how are the Lakers going to be healthy? The Jazz are back to back in LA on the 17th and the 19th.
Mm-hmm.
Are the Suns going to be healthy? Or are the Lakers going to have AD and LeBron back for that?
Yeah.
There's some thought that AD is going to come back next week. We'll see. Here's the Jazz schedule: Sacramento, Washington, OKC, and Indiana at home now for this stretch. They're at home most of the second half.
So, wait. So, Sacramento, Washington, Indiana,
Oklahoma City.
all wins.
Back-to-back at LA and then at Houston. I think those
The
are...
back-to-back at LA, I could potentially see dropping one of those.
Depends. Are AD and LeBron playing?
LeBron won't be playing. They're not saying he's going to be back till the 30th.
Yeah, I think
so. AD could be back.
I wouldn't. I just wouldn't. I think those are 3 wins.
Yeah.
Back-to-back against Minnesota, one there, one here.
Wins.
A 3-game trip at Minnesota, at Sacramento, at Phoenix. I think
2 of those are wins for sure. Phoenix game is a toss-up.
I think so.
Depends on the night.
Home for Toronto, 2 against San Antonio, Denver, and Houston.
The Toronto game, they should win, but that would be a game that I would highlight on the schedule as one that might be kind of a dogfight, frankly.
Yeah, Toronto's not an easy team to play.
Yeah.
The Jazz are far better than the
Reds. For sure.
Better.
I just think that the Raptors, somehow, some way, man, they've always found a way to just be this tough, like, gritty team that makes your life really
Grind
difficult.
it out.
Yeah.
That Denver game, by the way, is a really that's
game,
a must
dude.
win.
Huge game.
At Golden State, Portland, at OKC, at Sacramento.
Don't overlook the Warriors, dude. You should beat the Warriors, but don't overlook them.
I think I see 2, maybe 3 games you got to look at.
Yeah.
That Denver game's the one you have circled.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just no question about that. I think they're fine. I think the Jazz are going to win the Western Conference. Yeah. They're going to have the number 1 seed. They're dominant at home. It's exactly what you needed last night.
I think as a team, you're in a position where you're not necessarily worried about losing the 1 seed. You're worried about making sure that your chemistry is locked in, which it will be.
Yep.
You're making sure that you'd really like to see, and I know we've been saying it all year, but you'd like to see guys like Bogdanovich get hot headed into the postseason.
I think
that would be really nice, dude.
To see Bogdanovich get hot. I will again say, Bojan Bogdanovich is a huge factor for this team. He's got to make 3-pointers.
Yeah.
They've got to shoot 35, 40 3-pointers a game, as many as they can. And they need to make 40% to win consistently.
Yeah.
Bojan Bogdanovich is a huge part of that. And he's fallen off. He's not shooting nearly as much as he had been or nearly as much as you'd like him to be. And frankly, I don't know how you fix that because the flow of play is geared towards making threes for him, and he's passing on them. So he's just got to, frankly, he's got to have some balls, and he's got to shoot every 3 he gets a chance to shoot.
Yeah.
Period.
I agree.
There really is.
I will say, I do like his physicality in the paint, though. I mean, if he could, I'm not saying I want him to be doing that all the time, but I do love the fact that he's been showing the willingness to just go in there and run someone over.
Yeah, he needs to.
Yeah.
He needs to.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're watching this show right now.
Okay. All right.
Woo!
Okay.
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 If you're watching the show right now, please give us a thumbs up real quick. It takes 2 seconds. Really helps the YouTube channel grow. Give us a subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. The Monty Show on YouTube. Just get on Google and search Monty, The Monty Show. You can find us everywhere. Audio podcast, certainly YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, The Monty Show. Monty, The Monty Show. Let's talk about Deshaun Watson because I think this is a big deal. Deshaun Watson's attorney has been granted a hearing to determine whether or not those accusing Deshaun Watson in these civil suits of heinous sexual acts against them while they were performing massage on him. His attorney, Rusty Hardin, who is a veteran defense attorney, who if you are in any kind of trouble, you want Rusty Hardin representing you, is going to court now to try and force these women to identify themselves. At least that's what's on paper. But this is a common tactic used by defense attorneys to force those suing their clients into settlement talks. That's why Rusty Hardin is having this hearing, because he wants to get these people to the table to settle these lawsuits to make this go away. The bigger question becomes, if he settles, is Deshaun Watson admitting guilt here, Jake? I don't think he's admitting guilt. I don't think there's any other course for him to take but to settle.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Legally, he's not admitting guilt. In the court of public opinion, he is. And I think that's the thing for Deshaun. Now, on the other side, the flip side of this, I think the silver lining, if you're Deshaun Watson, is we've seen a whole slew of NFL players do horrible, heinous things and then get signed to big contracts. You look at, I mean, we could go up and down the list, right? But the point is there's been a ton of guys, and Deshaun, it will be added to that list. He will get signed. He will get traded. Everything will work out. But yeah, I think for him, he's probably saying to himself, and I think, Rusty Hardin is saying too, like, hey, we got to get you past this thing, man. We got to get you in a position where you can be traded, where you can be viewed as an asset again and back into a good spot. And I think that right now, he is definitely not in a good spot, and they have got to move past this. And I think that's all this is. Yeah,
I think Deshaun Watson's he is in deep trouble here. I mean, I just don't know. I mean, if you look at Deshaun Watson, I don't know how at all in any conversation, what's the word, extricates himself. Mm-hmm. I don't know how he gets out of this unscathed. He's already lost Nike and Beats by Dre. Sponsorship dollars are not coming back. If he settles, he essentially admits guilt. And I don't see that he has any other way to go here. If he goes to court and there are text messages and there is testimony, I mean, the damage is undeniable. The damage is unrepairable.
Yeah.
At this point, if you're Deshaun Watson, you settle and you shut up. You play football, and you just go about your business. And hopefully you get some therapy.
Yeah.
Because you look at what's going on with Deshaun Watson and what Deshaun Watson is accused of doing, my God.
It's horrible.
These things, these are criminal at best.
Mm.
This is criminal conduct. I mean, it's shocking. And I guess the thing that I'm struggling with, and I know that this seems like a stretch, it is what it is. This former NFL player that committed this mass shooting the other day, murdered, I think, 5 people. You look at, I go back to Aaron Hernandez, I go back to, just all of this criminality by NFL players.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a hard time just looking past that. Yeah. I have a hard time just saying, well, these are just guys. I have a hard time. I will struggle to watch Deshaun Watson. Mm-hmm. I will struggle to want good for Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
I will struggle to ever root for Deshaun Watson on the football field.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is becoming a consistent theme in the NFL. And I feel like it had subsided, violent crime by NFL players.
It had.
Right? I feel like it had.
We had moved past Greg Hardy.
Finally.
Yeah.
And now you've gotten these last couple of years where guys now are just finding themselves in trouble. And we're seeing, if it's not concussions and suicides, now we're seeing violent mass shootings and just heinous, deep, long sexual assault by one of the star quarterbacks in this league.
And that's a real issue. I mean, you talk about him making his comeback on the field. The problem is the guy's good enough to get to a Super Bowl. I mean, he's good enough to be, the MVP, and that's the issue.
I hope he settles and we just move past it. And, I obviously, this is going to come off as harsh. I'm just warning you. I would have no problem if Deshaun Watson never played in the NFL again.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think that I think that from a real life, living in the real world perspective, he doesn't deserve to play in the NFL again. He doesn't. I mean, you as much as there's no proof here, there's no there wasn't a rape kit done, or there wasn't anything outside of some messages that ties him to this. I do think that with the volume of people that are now willing to come out, that changes things. That makes it real, and I think that's hard to get away from.
Okay, here we go.
Here's the wait. Before you read this, we got past "Do you even watch games?" guy. Now we're moving on to, I don't know if it's this, but we'll get to a portion of the show where we'll get to "You guys should stay on sports" guy. So let's see what this is.
Well, that's coming because we're going to talk about Matt Gaetz in a minute. But William, who listens to this show every day.
William, do you prefer to go by Bill?
Billy. No, I'm kidding. William says, you guys laud. I think you meant to say laud. You guys, let's go with heap. You guys heap praise on Kobe Bryant as though he's some hero. Mm-hmm. He's no different than Deshaun Watson. Okay, how do you even unpack that in a 5-minute conversation? Kobe Bryant obviously was accused of sexual assault. Mm-hmm. He did the exact same thing Deshaun Watson's going to do right now and settled that case. Kobe went to court, though. One, I would say Kobe took it to trial. Two, I would say this was one person in Eagle, Colorado, and if you don't know the story, in vagary it is. Kobe went to Eagle, Colorado. He had knee surgery. He went there to have the surgery in rehab. A woman that was in service to him, I believe she was a hotel worker, accused Kobe Bryant of sexually assaulting her. She sued him. They went to court. Kobe eventually settled. That was one case. Deshaun Watson has almost 30 women accusing him of, at best, sexual misconduct, at worst, sodomy and rape. Mm-hmm. Almost 30 women. You really think that's similar to Kobe?
And by the way, I'd like to point out that I think that regardless of what Kobe went through or did or whatever, he went on to be a hero, because he is a hero to, I would say, hundreds of thousands of people.
I think the story, part of Kobe Bryant's legacy is redemption.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine being Vanessa Bryant. Mm-hmm. You didn't divorce him. Oh, it's about the money. She'd have made way more money divorcing Kobe than staying with him. Mm-hmm. I think you look at what Kobe Bryant did after that situation, and I think there's no redeeming yourself if he did that, but there was never an admission of guilt. There was none of that. I don't know what happened. I'm not saying Kobe's innocent, but I'm also not going to sit here and say he was guilty. Mm-hmm. I think it's a ridiculous, with all due respect, William, and I appreciate you're here. I love your comments every day on YouTube and on Twitter. I really appreciate you. I think it's a ridiculous comment.
I would agree.
To compare Kobe to Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
I know you're a diehard Jazz fan, so it's in your DNA to hate the Lakers. What Kobe did is not even in the same conversation, league,
atmosphere,
whatever,
galaxy.
Not even in the same conversation as what we're talking about with Deshaun Watson allegedly sexually assaulted women he hired to perform massage treatments on him.
Yeah.
He flew them from other states and then allegedly sexually assaulted them.
Yeah.
Let's not compare the two. I'm
with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
And the other thing that we took a lot, and we don't talk about this a lot on this show, never. We got death threats the other day.
We did?
We did. I read it to you. What do you mean? Yes, we did.
You didn't read that to me.
Yes, we did. Yes, I did. The guy that said, I'm going to find you guys, and over our Matt Gaetz comments.
You did not read that to me, bro. I'm telling you right now. Here we go.
I'm not going to read it on the show, but I will show it to you.
Here we go.
I will show it to you because I think it speaks to... So people say a lot of things on this show. Mm-hmm. I mean, people say a lot of things. I don't know. Maybe death threat is strong. Well, and now YouTube has removed them.
No,
honestly. But essentially, what a guy said about Matt Gaetz, he said, "You guys should stick to sports. I'm going to find you." And I can't remember exactly what he said, but he said, "I'm going to F you up for what we said about Matt Gaetz."
Well, yeah.
Because it wasn't true and it was a smear campaign and you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. So, Twitter tough guys, dude. I'm not. That doesn't even really concern me, honestly. But it does happen.
By the way, what we said about Matt Gaetz has pretty much come true.
Just saying.
Congressman Matt Gaetz.
You know.
And if you didn't hear the story, this is comparable to Deshaun Watson. Okay? Matt Gaetz and a cohort are accused and are being investigated by, and one of them is being prosecuted now, for sex trafficking and paying underage women for sex. We talked about this on the show. We told you don't accidentally get investigated by the Department of Justice. We told you that, and this guy who made threats against us on YouTube was saying, "Oh, it's his dad in this investigation," and he used the word convoluting the facts. The facts are that the extortion attempt against Matt Gaetz' father, one has nothing to do with the other. The investigation was ongoing. The people who tried to extort Matt Gaetz' father found out about the investigation and said, "Hey, if you pay us $25 million, we won't talk about it publicly." They never said, "We'll make it go away," because they have no power to make it go away. They're not the ones who were investigating Matt Gaetz.
Yeah.
The two are completely unrelated. And I think it's convenient to try and make arguments to bolster your point. So the situation with Matt Gaetz is, Congressman Gaetz, the Department of Justice has leveraged his partner, his associate, who was a political operative in Florida. And these two idiots, what do we call this? Hey, here's how you get caught sex trafficking women. You pay them on Venmo on accounts that have your own names on them. His cohort now is going to plead guilty, and according to reports, multiple reports across Florida, not CNN, those pricks. Multiple reports across Florida are saying this guy's going to plead guilty, and I'm not going to say his name because screw him, is going to plead guilty and testify against Matt Gaetz.
Yeah.
And they leveraged this guy because Matt Gaetz Venmo'd his associate money, who then immediately turned around and Venmo'd one of the girls money.
Ouch.
The exact same amount of money that Matt Gaetz sent to his associate. I think it was 3 minutes later.
Yeah.
The guy got the money, 3 minutes later sent it on to this girl, who, by the way, is now a porn star. And it's been known that she was a sex worker. Right? They have this happening multiple times.
Yeah.
This is not an accident. There are allegedly wiretaps of Matt Gaetz talking to this guy. Again, how to get caught sex trafficking 101. Use your congressional cell phone to talk about underage women. And
here's the game plan.
Then commit federal wire fraud by sending money to your associate, who then turns around and sends it to a girl.
You're an idiot.
How to get caught 101.
You're an idiot.
Matt Gaetz is in real trouble.
Tangible.
There are now calls by other congressmen who are Republicans. Also, not those effing libtards.
Libtards.
Other Republican congresspeople are calling for Matt Gaetz to resign. It's over.
Yeah, we'll see you.
So what we've been saying for several weeks about the Matt Gaetz investigation is absolutely true. We were not wrong about that. We did not get the facts wrong. The extortion had nothing to do with it.
Fake news.
By the way, the interview he did on Tucker Twist My Face Carlson on Fox News a couple of weeks ago, they're saying that the government is using that as evidence against his cohort.
Oh my God, dude.
And the things that he talked about, those photos, he he basically couldn't help himself and vomited all over the fact that the government had photos of him with these sex workers. Like, it's over, man.
You are done, bro.
So again, in the era of, hey, how do you get caught sex trafficking people? Let's see. The first thing you do is, well, you sex traffic them. The second thing you do is you take pictures with underage sex workers. You're a congressman. What's the worst that could go wrong when you take
you're
pictures
a congressman. You can get out of anything. It's fine.
Underage girls that you're paying for sex. And paying them to attend parties where you have sex with them and a bunch of other dudes do too.
Yeah.
And then you Venmo your friend who immediately turns around and Venmos them to pay them for the sex they had at this party. Allegedly.
You thought that by Venmoing your friend who then Venmoed them that was going to like put distance.
Bro.
Like, you're dumb, dude.
You're not smart.
You are not intelligent.
So we took pictures with underage girls. We paid on Venmo and accounts in our own names. We talked on cell phones, our own congressional cell phones. And then we showed pictures of other women we had had sex with to all of our other congressmen. Hey, look. Hey, man, check it out. Look at this chick. This is the one I had last night. You're an idiot.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You're sex trafficking underage women, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, the evidence says that Matt Gaetz did all of this.
Doesn't make you feel responsible.
Yeah. Good luck.
You're done, dude.
It's over.
Like, you're done.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have... Dude, when the Department of Justice has all that on you, it's... Yeah, that's not going to end well for you, dude.
Yeah. Tyler says, I appreciate that you guys always are up on the news. I actually think you're pretty credible. Well, thanks, Tyler.
Appreciate that, dude.
Appreciate that, man.
By the way, I do love likes to fight guy in the comments. I love it. It's funny.
Yeah, I don't like likes to threaten our lives guy.
Yeah, it's probably not great. But
that's not great.
Yeah, but... You know.
Forgotten Soul says, hello, guys. I was at the game live last night, and it was incredible. Great win for the Jazz.
What was it like being in the stadium?
I was just going to say, one of the things I want to talk about real quick is, are you ready to go back to an arena? So we went to the gym at lunch yesterday. We got that lunchtime lift on.
Never make that sound again. Don't please don't
do that.
Okay,
we went back to the gym yesterday, and it was much better, mainly because it was much less full. We got a great lift in. Got that bench in. Got that.
Do you even lift?
Yeah, actually we do. Got those chest flies in. Did some dumbbell work. It was great. I'm a week and a half vaccinated, the second vaccine. A week from right now, I'm out this pace. A week from right now, we'll be driving to Las Vegas. Yes. So, after the show, actually.
Yeah.
We're going to do the show.
Duh. Like, we're not morons.
First,
like, obviously, we got to do the show.
Staying at Mandalay. It's going to be amazing. Going to have that Mandalay breakfast buffet after I'm trashed on Friday night. Saturday morning.
Two O's and Goose Boy.
We will be trashed on Friday night. We were actually talking to each other about this yesterday about, like, we need the release.
Bro.
One of the things that I think is fascinating about the pandemic is that people are not taking vacations.
Dude, it hit me yesterday. I didn't realize, I hadn't actually thought about it in a minute. And I was like, whoa, bro. I haven't taken a vacation in like 18 months,
Forever.
dog.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
I don't take time off well. I will. Now, when I moved from Phoenix to Salt Lake, I took just about 5 weeks off. Split up. I took 2 weeks, about a week and a half off. Worked a week, did 57 points and dominated, and then took 3 more weeks off to end the year. It's refreshing. It's recharging. You really need that. We're going to Hawaii in November for a week and a half. You really need that.
Yeah.
But as far as going to games, are you ready to go back to an arena?
Yeah, I would say for the most part, yeah. I think that I think that I'm not ready to go Texas Rangers on it and have a full baseball stadium. But I think that.
But I'd love to get to a Jazz game this year.
Yeah, limited capacity Jazz game would be fine. I wouldn't really worry about that.
Yeah, I think that's. We should look at why haven't we tried to get tickets to that? You open to it?
When's the Nets coming? When the Nets coming to town, man?
When the Nets coming in, man?
When my boy coming in?
The Nets are not coming to town.
God.
What's the best home game left on the Jazz schedule? Portland on May 12th. Ooh, Denver on May 7th.
That might be one.
Hey now. They don't really have a great home game. It's Denver.
Yeah.
It is Denver on Friday night, May 7th, 8 o'clock. We're going to try and get some tickets.
Some tickets. Anybody got some ticket contacts?
Yeah, anybody got some ticket contacts for the Yes, man? Hey, where's like Forgotten Souls or whatever his name is? Hey, man.
Wait, does homie work for the Jazz?
We're out here working. I don't think so, but he was at the game last night. Where you get your tickets, man?
Yeah, man. Where are you getting tickets from?
Where you get your tickets
from? Ticketmaster.com, where everybody else gets them.
Yourmom.com. Right? I'm ready. I would go.
Yeah.
I would go. So
yeah. No, I think it's. I think it would be fun.
I'm into it.
It'd be cool. Yeah. I mean, that would be one of those experiences where you're like, man, been a minute.
Been a minute.
Because
Absolutely.
before the pandemic, we were, we had media credentials and we were at all kinds of live sporting events.
Had season tickets, yeah.
Like, it was cool.
Had tickets to the Yotes at one point. Had tickets to the D-backs. Like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge fan of live sports. I think it's a totally different experience, especially in the NBA.
Yeah.
So, yes, I'm ready to go back.
Yeah.
Best TV characters. Real quick. Let's end the show with this.
Okay.
Who is your favorite television character of all time?
Dude, that's a difficult one. Because
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No.
Okay, who is it?
I don't know who you.
I mean, obviously Frank Voigt is right there. Duh, like Avi.
Frank?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I said
Wait,
Frank. It's Hank Voigt.
Guys,
My bad.
Guys,
My bad.
Do you understand now?
Dude, I'm sorry.
Just look at me right.
I'm sorry. Okay.
I'm the captain now.
No,
do you understand?
stop.
Do you understand what I have to deal with? Yeah. Do you understand what I have to deal with? Oh, Frank Voigt from Chicago Police Department. You're an idiot.
And it's going to go into crisis lockdown mode here at the house.
I'm going to kick your ass. I will come over there, and I will.
I don't give a baker's fuck.
I don't. How do you say Frank Voigt? How do you get that wrong? Help me. Like, help me understand. How do you get? It's Hank Voigt,
dude.
Chicago Sergeant Hank Voigt. How do you get that wrong?
My bad.
How? Anyway, Walter White is my favorite television character.
Who?
Second only to Sonny Crockett from Miami Vice.
Okay, fine. Sonny's a good pull. Okay.
Sonny Crockett.
Yeah, I get it.
From Miami Vice.
I get it.
So you tell me, who's your favorite TV character of all time? What's your favorite TV show of all time if you had to have one?
I'm Chicago PD. Yeah, but I don't watch a lot of TV. I don't watch a lot of episodic TV. I don't. Think about it. When do I have time to watch TV?
So Chicago PD is legitimately your favorite show ever?
Yeah, because I don't have a lot of time to... Wait, what is it saying on ESPN right now about Deshaun?
Judge rules that one of the women suing Deshaun Watson must release her name. Ooh. Wow, that's a little surprising. Watson facing 22 lawsuits alleging inappropriate conduct and sexual assault. Are you surprised by that? I'm a little surprised by that.
Yeah, usually, not that I'm saying, the justice system is like sexist or something, but usually they'll protect the women in these kind of cases.
One, this is civil.
Yeah.
This is not a criminal case. If this were a criminal case, this would be a different ruling. This is a civil case. A judge has ruled that one of the women accusing Deshaun Watson must legally reveal or must publicly reveal her name.
Why just one?
I don't know.
That's weird.
We'll have to see what the ruling is.
Yeah.
Right,
no, I don't get a lot of time to watch episodic TV. I don't because I
throw some out there like
Chicago TV.
I thought for sure that you would say Billions is your favorite show.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's one of my favorite TV shows, but it's not on a lot. I mean, it's only ever on, from time to time, and I feel like it hasn't been on in a really long time now.
So Axe from Billions is not your favorite character?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
He's kind of a dirtbag though.
But that's what makes him great. He does shady things in the the show, and that's what makes the show great. But then he pulls up in a Lambo, and you're like, all right, cool, you're a badass.
Can we be friends?
Yeah.
I mean, I think I'd look at some of the guys that would be in the running. Hank Voigt, certainly.
Frank Voigt.
You're such a cock. Andy Sipowicz from NYPD Blue.
Yeah, has to be.
I like cop shows, obviously.
Yeah.
Olivia Benson from SVU.
Elliot Stabler.
Nah.
Come on, guy.
Nah,
dude, he's one of the best.
No.
Dude.
Olivia Benson is so much more vital to that show. I think Olivia Benson has to be there. But I mean, I think if you go, we grew up in two different generations. Obviously, you're the seed.
Well,
of,
nothing happened before I was.
You're
born,
the
so.
seed of Chucky.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's
the seed of Chucky. So that makes you Chucky.
I think it is. Favorite TV character of all time. I mean, it's Sonny Crockett. I think I grew up really loving Miami Vice.
Yeah.
Like the music. Miami Vice was one of the first shows that really used like Phil Collins music on. You don't even know who Phil Collins is.
The Air and the Night, bro.
It's the what?
The song.
What song?
No, I'm not doing it. No. Nope.
What did you say?
Nope.
This is a code 10 abort.
Yeah,
The
code
name
10
of the
abort.
song
I'm
is
out.
In
No,
the Air Tonight.
I'm not doing it. Nope.
Wow. How do you screw that up?
Because I'm
Anyway,
10.
yes, I know. You were not even boiling in the bag when that was on TV.
I'm pumped.
But Miami Vice was one of the first shows to really leverage music.
Yeah.
So Sonny Crockett certainly is one of my favorites. But, you know, I mean, I think there are a lot. Walter White certainly has to be there. I think Axe from Billions has to be there. I think if Hank Voight is certainly
Dude,
there.
what are some of the other shows I feel like? Does Game of Thrones count?
Yes.
I mean, you know, I loved Game of Thrones. You know, Jon Snow is obviously one of the best characters ever.
Yeah, I mean, these are episodic TV shows.
Yeah, so like I think Game of Thrones gets forgotten sometimes. I mean, dude, I know The Office is a totally different vibe, but The Office is one of the best TV shows ever.
Not Seinfeld. No.
Here we go.
No.
Here we go.
I still maintain Seinfeld's one of the most overrated shows ever. Ever.
Yeah, well.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Ari from Entourage has to
Yes.
you don't even like
Yes.
Entourage. Ari from Entourage has to be there.
Yeah, he's funny.
I mean, there's a lot of great characters. For me personally, my favorite TV character of all time is Sonny Burnett. Sonny Crockett, like
Yeah. Ferrari.
yeah. Sonny Burnett's his undercover name. You know, Rico Cooper.
Okay.
You know, was Tubbs, Crockett and Tubbs.
Yeah.
Cooper and Burnett.
Right. We
You
get
know.
it. Yeah. Okay.
Sean says, "Hey guys, so I was asked an interesting question. Who would you rather have on your team, Devin Booker or Donovan Mitchell?"
Devin Booker all day, twice on Sunday.
Right now, today, it's Devin Booker.
And the only reason it's Devin Booker is because he's got a better build for an NBA player. He's a more polished scorer for the most part. Not to say that Don can't score. Don't twist my words. I'm not saying he can't score. But what I am saying is that Donovan Mitchell is never going to be the guy that's at the elbow backing you down to hit the game winner. That's just not who he is. He can score, but he's not that level of scorer.
I think Book just has a higher. He is. How do I say this? He's an elite scorer from anywhere on the floor.
Yeah.
He can shoot the three, he can get to the cup. He's got a savage mid-range game. I mean, Donovan Mitchell will likely catch him. That just right now today.
Excuse me.
Oh, Frank Voigt. Prick. I just don't. Anyway. Yes. And Steve says, thanks for using the drops, Jake. People are actually picking up that I criticize you for not playing enough drops.
Dude, I can't. You guys got to understand that it depends on the conversation. I'm not going to roll out drops when we're talking about Matt Gates' sex trafficking.
Right, but you put in great drops today that you haven't even gotten close to using.
Well, because when am I going to use them? I have. Have I not used this one?
And it's going to go into crisis
I used this
lockdown mode
one.
here at the house.
Right? I use this one, and then I use this one.
Give a baker's fuck.
I don't give a baker's F.
Right? And then so like, and then I use this one.
This was going to happen. Tonto.
Right? I use that one. So like, I've used 4 of the 5. You know, I'm trying.
Did you cut Hey Big Guy?
No, I didn't.
No. And if you don't know, those are all from Wedding Crusher. Anyway,
By the way, amazing movie.
Yeah, I'd take Donovan Mitchell second to Devin Booker, but not by much. That's just my opinion. Everybody.
Well, this
tends
is
to
the Devin Booker show, so like.
Yeah, you know, people on YouTube have said that as well. People tend to get bent. Oh, you're an idiot. Do you watch games? Yeah, I do, and I'd still take Devin Booker. You cock. Anyway, have a great weekend. You know what I'm saying? Play the music.
Okay.
Play the music.
So
Frank
aggressive.
Voigt. Can't believe you said Frank Voigt. Like, that's embarrassing.
Bro, it's been a long week, okay?
No, it hasn't.
Like, yes, it has.
It's Hank Voigt.
It's been
like
a long
it
week.
ain't close. It ain't close.
Bro, Hank and Frank are very close.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
Look, Hank doesn't know anybody named Frank, and if he does, Frank's a jerk.
Yeah, and Frank's not taking anybody to the back alley and getting their drug contact.
No, the silos, you jerk. You don't even watch that show. Whatever.
The silo.
Chicago PD is my favorite show. You don't even watch it.
I don't have time.
Huh. I'm too busy getting that ass.
No.
Here's what's going to happen.
Too busy
Tonto.
making YouTube thumbnails.
Yeah, exactly.
And watching Jazz games, even though I never watch Jazz games.
All right. That's it. Show's over. See you Monday. Until Monday, I don't know. Say, have a good weekend, Frank.
Have a good weekend, Frankie.